So hi everyone, today in this video we're going to develop another way to solve the problems that we have been facing in our reality and problems that we're also going to have to face, at least in terms of quantity. Obviously some ones are solved, but other ones try to appear and then so fulfy the space that the other ones that have so get solved, so get free to enter new ones. And that's so obviously what doesn't change is that you're always going to have to get the ability to solve problems because they're always going to have to exist. And then so we're going to try to approach it in a creative way. What I support is the most smart way to solve a problem, that's getting the usage of mental models, so to create a more type of robust action towards so the solution of these problems is what so I argue about is that you can so change, you can so solve the problems by having more knowledge about mental models, what they are, and how you can apply them. So what you have to understand is that we face a problem today, but then so wholly prior to start solving a problem, you have to understand the problem that you have. And then so what you have is the climate collapse. So what's the problem? We're kind of feeling that we're having in a climate breakdown and towards so the consequences that this brings. So what are elements that we have to analyze is that we have the 1.5, so we're kind of going for a world that's being and going overheated over the time. So we're kind of feeling and we're kind of having an average type of weather in in our world is getting higher over the time. And then so obviously we're reaching a threshold that in 2024, it was the threshold that I'm referring, the average temperature in the world has increased 1.5, 1.5 or so, 1.5 of so the type of measure that we tend to use so to calculate how much so it the our world. And then so obviously this is starting to triggering irreversible typing points that probably could not be that much easy to reverse. And then so we have as well a lot of inaction because it has a lot of type of tensions if we should adopt so some policies or not. What so is the trade-offs between short-term and long-term, and the human toll, the 2000. So this type of consequences, this type of element that's happening in our world can make so happen a creation of even more refugees than what we have today, and this can create around 250 million climate refugees, so projected by 2030. So we need to start working for that. So what could be the main models and solutions that are so useful to get applied there? First, I think it's really important to understand the tragedy of commons is one of the most important things to make so this type of climate collapse being happening. What's the idea here is that shared resources like air, oceans, by being shared, they're exploited unless they're so exploited in not a sustainable way, and that so benefits all systems. So the shared resources are exploited unless governed. And then so we need to start fixing this. The trade of commons happens when so we have kind of trade-off between self-interest and collective good. That I'm preferring the self-interest because I think that if it's just me that's doing action doesn't have impact, but by everyone thinking it, we're gonna create a collective result that's best for everyone. So what could be the potential fixes? A lot of things are already done. So we have the carbon commons trusts. The Alaska's carbon sharing model pays locals to protect forests, and this has been so made like cut emissions 40% since 20,000. Uh, and what's the data that so make us understand the tragedy of commons happening here is that communities with land rights protect forests 3 times better than government. So see how a resource that's shared and then so it's not owned by everyone. If we still start attributing accountability, start attributing incentives for people trying to act as the thing was their own, they start to being more efficient in its usage. So a strategy that you have to follow that has some type of concept included on. Second, the leverage points is something that we already have talked. So intervene when where it matters. So what's the idea here is that small shifts in key areas create system-wide change. What serves the application is tax financial flow. For example, the European Union's carbon border taxes forces imports to match its climate laws, but and then so cut industrial emissions by almost like 18% in 2023. And we have the rewilding keystone species reintroducing wolves in Yellowstone, boosted carbon capture via ecosystem balance. So important to have some leverage points, some elements that can be like a lot of impact in comparison with other type of more generic solutions. We have this precautionary principle, so avoid irreversible harm is something that we have to get in account. So act before full scientific certainty, because when we have that full scientific certainty of action on is where so is already too much late. So what's the application is like ban geoengineering gambles, like the Union of Nations halted ocean iron fertilization after artificial intelligence predicted algal blooms could suffocate marine life. And we have the glacier insurance, the Switzerland's artificial snow cannons slow helping melt while global policies catch up. Another thing is the Jevons paradox. The efficiency backfires. Better tech can increase resource usage. It's something that we see a lot. Cheaper solar can create more energy demand. And the reality is that it's not because the solar panels is something that so uses a renewable type of energy that doesn't create that much of pollution. The reality is that the materials that we made so of the solar panels that already can create the type of pollution in their produce. So it's something that we have to get in account. When something becomes more efficient and then so create a reduced waste, the reality is that so we can see a more type of consume now that it's become efficient and then so generate the same type of quantity of waste. And that's so something that we don't like. And that's so how to fix it. Cap and Trade 2.0, a strategy. The Norway's obsolete emissions sailing for sectors like oil, gas, capped at 2015 levels. So, despite efficiency gains and behavioral nudges. So, the France's electricity pain alerts cut peak demand by 25% during energy crunches. Another thing is the panarchy. So, systems adapt or collapse. So, what's the idea is healthy systems cycle between growth and renewal. And what so it's the importance of that one here. What so is the application of so this being true? We have the controlled forest burns in Australia's indigenous led fires prevent mega blaze. The CO2 emissions have so decreased 60% in 2023. And why not circular city? So the Amsterdam's waste-free 2050 plan reuses 90% of demolition materials, so creating economy, a circular type of economy. This seems to be something smart to create. So this more type of efficient system that we have, and then so we have to adapt our economic system probably so to have more reuse of some type of what we could consider in the past as waste. Six, mimetic desire copying drives consumption. So the idea is that we want what others have, and then so redirect it. Fix how to fix that, or so how to fix by understanding that this exists. So this mimetic desire that we want what others have, and then so redirect it. So what we can use it by understanding this as true. So we have the green status symbols. Tesla's Cybertruck effect makes so the EV sales doubled in truck loading Texas. And we have the cool austerity, the Sweden's flight shaming movement cut air travel 33%. The trains are now viral. So, integrated solution comes with the global the carbon democracy, like citizens' assemblies set national carbon budgets, like the Ireland's model reduced emissions 88% annually already. Climate moonshots like solar windows, like the ubiquitous energy, more hydrogen plants like the Airbus 2035 target. And probably so, why not artificial intelligence powered accountability? Satellites, more blockchain track corporate emissions in real time, like exposed Chevron's 40% underreporting. So obviously, it's a trade-off. We're kind of having more control because it's a trade-off that we have. You have more control, and then so you have things going in a certain way, but this takes a bit of freedom. It's something that you have to regulate this trade-off because you cannot have go for both extremes. So it's something that you have to get in count. So I expect these videos make you gain insights. I expect those enough to may like it, to subscribe, and I hope to see so in other videos that may trigger your interest in that channel. So thank you and see you in the next one.